I am officially debt-free. I am here to talk about paying off debt. These are going to be very realistic, simple things. Hi guys, welcome back to another Debt Diaries video. The last one wasn't the last. I said it was the last, and it was for the paying off debt. However, I am here to talk about paying off debt. This is probably going to be the last Debt Diaries video, unless you have other suggestions on what you would like me to film for this whole series. But I can't think of what else to film currently. Welcome. If you are new here, my name is Jill. You are coming in at a very exciting time in my life. I am officially debt-free as of 1 week ago. I'm still on the high, guys. I'm still so excited about it and so proud. I haven't gotten back into debt. Don't worry, have not touched my cards. Here with the coffee, of course, because we're gonna need it for this video today. If you're new here, up until this point, I have been in a lot of debt. I probably racked up between $15,000 and $20,000 in debt. I don't have an exact number because we're gonna get into my debt payoff story, but I ended up being able to like pay some off, and then I got back into debt, and it was kind of all over the place. Just to note, my circumstances might be different from yours, just as anyone's would be, but I still feel like a lot of what I have to say can be applicable to your life. This is just very realistic. Like, I am no expert. I'm a girl in my 20s who just paid off debt and who is just like living her life, trying to learn about finances and to slowly just become better. I grew up in a very like debt-heavy household, I feel like, or just like a financially stressful household. It was just my mom and I, so we struggled financially. It unintentionally followed me into adulthood. I then made decisions that maybe weren't the best for me. No one's fault but my own, and then I had to deal with them a few years later. That leads us here to today when we are officially debt-free, and now I'm sharing about it with you. These are going to be very realistic, simple things. There's no like magic thing to do. For me personally, there wasn't. I mean, if by chance you can like, I don't know, go viral and a bunch of followers and make a side income from this, or get discovered for some crazy talent and all of a sudden make a ton of money, or win the lottery, like those are amazing things and they happen to people. Not as if those things don't happen, but for like me and maybe you who has not had that happen to them yet, here are some things that I'm going to share about for debt payoff. So if you're new here, like I said, my name is Jill. I'm 24. I currently live in South Florida. I work full-time in hospitality, and we have combined income in this household. So that might be a little different from you, but like I said, I think a lot of what I have to say could be useful for you. I am no financial expert. I'm just sharing like things I did, and maybe it could help you. I feel like if you watch the payday routines, you're gonna recognize a lot of the things that I'm talking about. It's not like I have this extensive long list. I feel like there's a very simple recipe in general for debt payoff, which we'll get into. It's like simple, but of course there's always like missing context and there's nuance, and you know, everybody's circumstances are different and what they're dealing with and what they're going through. So just keep that in mind. Like, everybody has different circumstances and are struggling in different ways, and you have different things they have to worry about. And I mean, you can't always pay massive chunks of debt off, but hopefully this will give you some ideas to help like get a little farther along in your debt payoff journey. Quickly, I want to share like my debt story just a little bit. I'm not going to get into it too much. I spoke about it at the beginning of my Debt Diary series, so if you really want to go into the nitty-gritty, I'm basically going to sum it up for you here though. Like I said, I had about 15 to 20 grand of credit card debt. It didn't start off that way. It started off with like one maxed out credit card, and then it went to 2 and then 3. I was going through a hard time a couple of years ago, and I ended up kind of spending a bunch of money shopping, eating out, and at the time I didn't have a job. So it was just kind of like combined circumstances of like not doing well mentally, spending a lot of money that I just didn't have. I didn't have a job, so it was like, where is this money coming from? I didn't have it. And then on top of that, it wasn't all debt from that. Then after that, it was not making enough money from the job that I did end up getting. I didn't make enough to keep up with the current lifestyle I had. So then it was like, I always talk about it here and there, like you'll hear me talk about the debt cycle, where I always say, like, you make a small amount of money, you use that money for bills or to pay off your credit card debt, but then you have no spending money left because you didn't budget for it, or you just like don't make enough. What happens? You put more money on the credit card and so on and so forth. I will say at that point, my spending habits were not good. I ate out a lot. I love eating out still to this day. Trust, I'm a food and beverage girly, okay? I love eating out, going for a happy hour. I love a takeout. I love it all. I love an experience. I don't care how nice it is or how like fast food drive-through it is. I just love an experience, and that will get me every time. That is my vice. Everybody has something different. I feel like with spending that they struggle with, that is mine. I would say about a year after that, I ended up getting a job where I was making like more money than like I had been making, and I finally looked at my debt and I was like, okay, we cannot have this anymore. We can't have this happen anymore. We need to pay this off. We as in me. At the time, our finances were still separate, so at the time, Tyron was dealing with his finances, he was paying off things, I was paying off things. We ended up getting jobs that were making more money, and I was finally like, okay, I have extra money, I can start paying debt off. Well, that's what I did. I paid off one card, and then I paid off another card, and then I had my big card left. It was like $7,000. If you're new here, I had about 3 cards. My biggest one is the one I had left, and then some like circumstances happened. We had to move, we had to spend money unexpectedly, and where is that money coming from? It came from credit cards, because I didn't have a savings set aside, or a big enough savings where it just like made sense. Money went back on the cards, maxed out the credit cards. When we moved, we ended up getting jobs that again didn't pay well, and it was like back to square one. So finally, when we moved to Florida this past, was it end of October? It's now August. So it's been almost a full year. That's crazy. It's been about 10 months. When we moved back to Florida, we were like, all right, something needs to change here. Like, because this isn't working. What we were doing before, how we were paying things off, just something's not working. So what do we need to do to go about this? Now we decided to be in Florida and stay here full time. At the time when we were moving around, we were working seasonally. So like we'd get jobs that paid more, or some that didn't pay as much, or it was kind of went like that. And then finally we decided, let's be in one place, let's try to get jobs that like pay a decent amount of money, and let's like tackle this debt. So it was about October time. Guys, when we moved to Florida, no money to my name. Not one fucking dollar. Not $1. And you're probably like thinking back to that time. And yeah, I had no money. I had no money. It's not even funny. It is what it is. Like, we were living off a couple bucks. Like, it was not much until we got our first paycheck, and then could like slowly start paying things off, right? And that's when we were like, okay, something needs to change. So we decided to combine finances, because we were like, because Tyron was making a significant bigger amount than I was. I wasn't making as much. I still am making less money, but we got to a point where like, okay, we're in this life together, you know, we are together forever, and we have the same goals, we have the same bills. Like, at this point, let's just put our money together. So that's what we did. Again, this is going to be different. This part of it is going to be different for everybody. You might not have combined finances with someone. You don't need to. But for us, it just made the most sense, because we literally share every single thing. We share the car, we share the apartment, we're on the same phone bill, we have the same electricity bill. It just makes more sense to like combine our finances, especially when we're trying to like hit the same goal. Because down the line, like if I didn't have my debt paid off, or he didn't, or whatever, it would start to hold us back as a couple. So we were like, let's just work on this together. And that's why we decided to combine finances, and that's when we decided we need to like go full on with this debt. At that point, I wasn't surprised at how much debt we were in, but it definitely felt really heavy. Like, it felt like a massive weight on my shoulders. I was stressed all the time. I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I couldn't do anything. It was just like everything became about that, and why we couldn't do anything, and why we couldn't hit goals we were trying to hit. It's because we had all this debt. It was just there all the time, and it was just in our face all the time. We were like, we just need to get this off. I want to say it took me, I would say about 2 years to pay off $15,000 to $20,000 of credit card debt. I was doing really well that first half when I like got that new job, and I was making good money, and I was like paying off debt really well till the move hit us, and it was just unexpected. Just the circumstances around it, again, got back into the debt. But I would say it took me about 2 years to get this debt off. It took us some time too, when we first got to Florida, because Tyron had some debts that he had to pay, and because of the interest on those things versus the interest on mine, we just started with his first, and then we went to mine after. That's why I only started filming the paydays like later, because I just didn't know how to approach it. I was like, I don't know, this is new for me, this whole combined finances thing. Like, I don't know how to approach this, I don't know how to share it. So I waited, and then one day I just decided to do it, and now I'm comfortable talking about it, and so it goes. I definitely like started taking it seriously in October, November time. For Tyrant, we like were seeing progress, but for me, we were kind of just paying the minimums and like ignoring my cards for the most part. So it kind of felt like nothing was happening until we really started focusing on mine. Then I was like, I could feel it. I could like pay it off. I could see the numbers. I could track it. It was definitely a struggle though. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. It was definitely not easy. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about like things I did obviously, but it definitely wasn't easy. So if you're on your debt payoff journey right now, if it feels like it's just like your life's all about it, you're not alone. We all feel like that when we're in credit card debt, especially if you're like your goal is to pay it off. It just feels like everything becomes about that, and it kind of does. Hot take, it might have to for a little while until you hit your goal, but once you hit it, you are gonna feel so excited. It was truly like one of the best feelings that I've had in my lifetime of just feeling like a sense of freedom. There were definitely times where like I wanted to give up. I was like, honestly, there's not like one specific point in time. I did get down. You in my payday routines, I even spoke about this. Like I was feeling a little down in some of them because I was just like, I feel like I'm making no progress. Like, everything's becoming about this. Like I can't enjoy anything. I can't travel. I can't go out to eat. When I see friends, I have to kind of like see if we can do something like that's a little cheaper, you know. All the time I just wanted to throw in the towel, and I was like, I'm just over this. Like, who cares if I have debt? Put it all on the cards. I don't care anymore. Like, I'm tired of having to think about this all the time. And that happened a lot. Like, there were so many days where I had those moments, and then I had to kind of like pull myself out of it and be like, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna get through it. We got this. Okay, so let's get into like the things I did. I feel like the big and obvious things everyone's gonna tell you in your debt payoff, which I stand by as well. Increase your income, decrease your expenses. I have two examples of this. One, when I first started paying off debt, when I was doing it alone. And the second example was when I combined finances. So I feel like, if anything, I can share two sides of how you can do it. I did get a job that was better paying. I feel like that's like the most obvious like thing to increase your income. However, you cannot increase your expenses or else you'll be in the same boat. You have to increase your income, keep your expenses the same, or decrease them. That's even better if you can do that. As much as I was making more money, I was also working so much. I was working double. Any chance I got to make more money, I was doing it. And I feel like at the time, my vlogs were a bit all over the place. I feel like I'm more consistent since moving to Florida. But when I was paying it off by myself, it was like, oh my gosh. Like, so that's when I was like paying it off by myself. Now with combined income, I feel like Tyron definitely does make more than me. If you guys see the payday routines, you know he makes like a significant more money than I do. However, even when he is making like less money, it's still like a decent amount going towards debt. Like even if he was making like on the low end of what his job pays, it was still pretty good for like paying off debt combined with my income. So I feel like that's the key, increase the income. So my income increased when I took on his income, and also my income did increase back then on my own when I got a better paying job. We increased the income, but we also decreased the expenses. You have to cut things out, and it's not gonna be fun because I think we all want to not change our circumstances but still have these things paid off. Getting off social media is very helpful because I feel like, especially for us girlies, like a lot of content is about consumption. We see these big influencers, they're off going to do these amazing things, and that is so great for them. But we are not them. We don't have their bank account. We don't have the brand deals. We don't have brands paying for us to go on these trips. We're in different circumstances. You know, I can't spend $10 on a coffee every day, because if I were to do that, that would amount to about $70 per week and per month. Tell me what that equals. That can go towards debt or a savings or whatever. And it sounds annoying because I also know that like the cost of living has gone up so much at this point. We're all kind of just like, who cares if I spend money on coffee? And I agree with that to an extent because it's kind of ridiculous like how expensive things are nowadays. I'm not saying shit's not expensive. Life is expensive. The coffee was just one example. If you want to keep the coffee, keep your coffee. But that was just one example. We all have something that we kind of like we also kept things, I feel like, throughout the debt payoff. Like I kept my book buying. Like books are about $10 on Kindle per book. And if I'm reading 5 a month, it's about $50 per month, you know. Like I kept my book buying. We went out here and there, ordered a takeout here and there, but like really cutting back. I definitely think cutting unnecessary spending is so important. Like going out to eat, it's not necessary. It's fun and I love it, and it's my vice personally, but I don't need to do it. If for some people that might be shopping. I love shopping. If I had all the money in the world, I'd be buying clothes left and right, but I don't have the money for that right now. I feel like that's a big one, and that especially because we have access to everything at our fingertips. Like every app is on the phone. and you can just buy if you want to. Some things are just so unnecessary. For some people, that's gambling. That's not a necessary expense. Could you win from it? Sure. But with the amount of losses you also have, it's not a necessary expense. Traveling, for some it's shopping, going out to eat, like all these things that like you don't need to do. And is it gonna be fun giving those things up? Absolutely not. I did not have fun. I have been so bored. For months I've been bored. I've been feeling like lazy because I don't get out anymore, because I've been on this debt payoff journey. But I'm out of debt, and I'm really happy when I decided to like decrease that unnecessary spending. There was a time on the debt payoff where we were still going out a lot, and that would definitely set us back like a lot, because we were going out to eat, we were spending money on takeout, and all that really does add up. And that's just my example. Like, I say that a lot because that's what happened with me, but for you it could be something completely different. Also, with like the decrease of spending, like, is there things that you can change in your spending? Can you get rid of your car, get a cheaper form of transportation, get a cheaper car if you live in a city, walk more? Can you take more like public transportation? You know, like there are ways to decrease. And even if it's only an extra X amount of dollars, those X amount of dollars definitely add up over time, and that can go towards an emergency fund or towards your debt. And I just think it's really important to decrease the expenses. So we did both. We increased the income and we also decreased the expenses. I definitely think we could have done more than what we did. This is life. We've already moved past that point. So now I'm sharing. Okay, let's talk about like actionable steps. Things I actually did personally when I was like going through this whole debt payoff, right? Because it's easy to say increase your income, decrease your expenses, but like how, right? I think first and foremost, budgeting. Guys, if you saw my payday routines, hot mess, literally listed everything out and budgeted to the zero. After bills, whatever was left over, it went into the debt. Not necessarily recommending that. I think it's important to build an emergency fund, but I am just sharing what I did. We didn't save anything. All the money went towards debt. We just wanted it gone as fast as possible. That was like step number one. Key number one was to like look at everything and be like, okay, what are we doing? What don't we need? What do we need? And be realistic. Like, there's a lot of things, especially living in the US, that I feel like we are so comfortable having, but like, what do we actually need? Or like, keep some wants but get rid of some as well. You know what I mean? Like, do things where you can stop spending as much on things. Again, like I said, for us, the easiest things to cut out were shopping, travel, but the hardest things were those eating out, because those little things were the things that like would kind of get me by mentally. I feel like it's important to find new things that help in your day-to-day. So maybe it's no longer eating out, but I substituted it with buying frozen meals. I spoke about this in my payday routine. Instead of buying a $20 pizza from Papa John's or the local pizza place, I bought a $5 frozen pizza from Trader Joe's, and I ended up saving $15 from doing that. It's little things like that that add up over time. Not the most fun, not the most like, I would rather get my favorite fried chicken than warm up a frozen meal from Trader Joe's, of course, but those are so good, by the way, though. I love the Trader Joe's frozen meal, so I don't even know what I'm saying, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I would normally go to on DoorDash, place a takeout order with my favorite fried chicken place. I'm saying that because that's my favorite in the area. But instead, I'm popping in like butter chicken or samosa. Sorry if this camera angle changed slightly. My camera just died, so we're back. Frozen meals, those were the things that really got me through. That's like one example of things to cut out. Buy an espresso machine or some kind of like coffee machine. Still expensive, but it's just changing those habits that are already in place and replacing them with things that are more inexpensive. If you like to shop, maybe get into thrifting. You know, if you still want to go to the store, pick out pieces, buy clothes, maybe go to the thrift store. If you don't like doing that, find stores that are way more inexpensive than maybe where you're currently shopping. Like, if you're going to those more expensive stores, maybe substitute with TJ Maxx, you know? Slowly find alternatives to help you with these habits that you already have to decrease what you're spending on. Oh, also going back to the meal thing, I think in the age of social media, such a blessing and a curse, because like it really makes you want to consume and like buy things and purchase items and go on these trips and do all these crazy fun things that we wouldn't want to do all these crazy fun things. But there's also creators who are really realistic and who create vlogs of them at home, them making food, sharing recipe ideas, like really quick and easy recipes at home. I think that's another great one. Grocery shopping at home. grocery shopping, and also grocery shopping at stores that are way more inexpensive. Instead of going to Publix, I'm going to Aldi or Trader Joe's. Combo of both. Instead of buying my meat out at these places, I'm going to Costco. Costco membership, that'll be your best friend, by the way. Stocking up on all the meats, stocking up on snacks, like stocking up on those big household items that end up being more expensive in the long run. The budgeting will really help like take a look at your spending habits and seeing kind of like what you could do. And if you want to keep some of those things, the going out, the buying things, budget it out. You know, instead of giving yourself like an infinite amount of spending money, budget it out. And not all you might have the issue of like spending money like I'm talking about like I did. I'm just kind of relating to the girlies in their 20s who maybe are in the same boat as me, but other people might have different circumstances. I still think same type of situation applies. Budget it out, see what you need, see what you don't need, see what changes you can make in your day-to-day. For some, it's getting a cheaper phone plan or getting rid of the car and like getting a cheaper one, you know, like that's something I do wish I did. We'll talk about that. I definitely think all that really helped and impacted our debt payoff, because any of that extra money that we have left over, like I said, was going towards debt. Like there was no budget for eating out or for shopping, or we ended up doing it here and there, so that money did get put on a card, but most of the time there was nothing for spending and it was going towards debt. I think every circumstances is different. I think if we did have some kind of budget, that could have been helpful, but we had decided not to do that, so we ended up doing this instead. Either way, we got to the same end goal, but I think you can have more of a balance if that's something that you want to have. Like I joked about it in my last video, but like Dave Ramsey is going to tell you to have rice and beans. I'm not eating rice and beans. I'm finding like great alternatives at home to eat. I'm going to a happy hour maybe instead of like a full price dinner, you know, like I'm doing things to help bring down my expenses. And I think you can see that in all your spending. I don't know, like I mean you might want to go crazy and say, okay, I'm gonna get a cheaper apartment or I'm gonna sell my house. Some people really go all out and do that kind of stuff. We weren't in debt enough where like I felt like we needed to get a whole new apartment and do that, but you can. The world's your oyster, you know, no one's telling you you have to, but is that something you feel is necessary and want to do? Okay, let's talk about how I budgeted just a little more in depth. I wouldn't recommend doing this. What I would recommend to you, getting a spreadsheet and like having a budget for every single thing you spend on. Look at all of what you spend on, see what can be adjusted and see what can't be adjusted, and go from there. If you need to get a second job, maybe get a second job for a couple months. If you need to cut out spending, cut out the spending, like whatever it is you can do in your circumstances. Like I think we can all do a little something. Maybe it's not everything. Maybe we can't get rid of the car. Maybe we can't get a second job, but I bet there are things we can do, because there were so many things I could still do, and I don't have like, I don't have children or parents I have to take care of. Like I'm taking that into consideration when I'm talking about this as well. Like everybody has different circumstances, you know, but what are things that you can do in your circumstances? Took a piece of paper, wrote down all our bills, and anything that wasn't a bill for the most part went towards the credit card. That did leave us like using a credit card here and there on things that came up that we didn't really plan for, but that's what we had decided to do. We budgeted down to the zero. I think it's called zero-based budgeting. And I think, if I'm saying this correctly, we snowballed. And we basically like paid off the smallest card as fast as we could, medium card as fast as we could, biggest card as fast as we could. And we did it like that. We started with the smallest card or with your highest interest card, whichever one. For me, that was the same, so that worked out. My smallest card was my highest interest card, and we like got that done immediately. Like that was like the first month, like we got rid of that thing so fast. And that's how we did our budget. Again, I don't know if I'd recommend doing it the way we did. I think I would recommend maybe possibly having an emergency fund if you can, budgeting and allocating things differently than what we did. But I mean, we had decided this is what we wanted to do, and we did it like this. I did speak about those like smaller random things, especially with like our spending that we did earlier, so I'm not gonna get too much more into that. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. I do want to talk about what I wish we did differently. In the beginning, I wish we were more strict on eating out. I wish we had just like cracked down and said we're not doing that, and like really just like made meals at home, made those frozen meals. I feel like I didn't really realize how bad that was affecting us until like halfway through. Wish we had started that sooner, like, and really just cut out like anything we could. I will say I'm really fortunate in this circumstances and time in my life where like we are far away from family right now. We are far away from most of our friends, so it's not like there's things to do with people right now. Like, it's kind of just like us here in Florida focusing on saving and putting money towards debt, and like really now I don't have that influence right now. But if you do, I would say like try to opt for some things that are a bit like more cost effective and cost friendly, like go for a walk in the park, make a coffee and go for a walk in the park, you know, go to the beach, things that don't cost that much money. Instead of going to a happy hour or going to an escape room or going to do X, Y, and Z, all those are really fun, so exciting things, but maybe it's not in the budget right now. I wish I had more aggressively prioritized the debt. Like, anything extra I was spending on, just get rid of it completely, because it would have just been done faster. I think like when we're on our debt payoff journey, we feel like so trapped that like any little thing we spend on or something, it's kind of like, oh, okay, like I'm still able to do things, and like I'm still a person, and my life isn't just like connected to this debt. Everything I do and every decision I make is just connected to this debt. But I wish I had been a bit more aggressive with it and just kind of been like, listen, I'm just taking this time right now and just like getting to it. You live and you learn, we keep moving forward. I do wish I got my phone bill down faster. We still have to change over for the next month for our phone to a cheaper phone plan. You could save like $100 some like every month from that. I wish we had done that, and we didn't do that. So again, this is why I'm saying like it's really important to look at everything you spend on, see what you can cut out, see what you can change. So many people said when I first got my car, you're gonna regret it, like you should have gotten something cheaper. I disagree. I love my car. I have a Jeep Compass. I lease her. She's expensive, $530 some every month. When I moved to Florida, my insurance skyrocketed. That's what I wish I had done differently. Either not, I don't want to say I wish I didn't move to Florida, because that's a little crazy to say. Might be a little bit true, but we're not going to get into that right now. If I did have a cheaper car, I'd probably have cheaper insurance. At the time when I had gotten the car, my insurance was really low because I was living in Rhode Island at the time, and then it went up really high, and I'm paying almost $1,000 a month on my car alone. I love my car so much, but I kind of want it gone. I really wish I figured out something different with it sooner, but I didn't. I am starting to look now. We'll talk about that in the vlogs. It's a conversation on the back end, and if it comes to the forefront, you will know. Some key takeaways from this whole conversation. I know I've been yapping. Increase your income if you can. Decrease your expenses in any possible way you can. If you can do both, that is even better. Just like look at your lifestyle and really just think like, is this necessary? Also, I think a timeline is really helpful. Instead of feeling so chained to and connected to the debt, come up with a timeline. I don't know if I said this, but think, okay, by, I don't know, December of this year, I want this gone. And if you can, adjust everything in your life to like get to that point. Prioritize that goal and make it like the one thing you focus on if possible, and set a timeline, because that will really help. It won't feel like forever. It really won't feel like forever. If you know the date in your head, by December 25th, Christmas, by Christmas, this is going to be done. Like any decision that's made, it'll feel so temporary in comparison to just like, okay, I'm trying to pay off this amount of debt, I'm just still paying it, and I keep paying, and I'm paying debt. Now you're saying, okay, I want to pay my debt off by Christmas. It's August right now. Definitely finding ways to cut out unnecessary expenses and save money or put that money towards debt, whatever it is. Oh, stop spending on the cards. I don't even know if I said that, but stop spending. Stop spending on the cards unless like you really need to. Take what you will from this, leave what you don't. If some of this advice doesn't work for you, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just sharing what worked for me. I think I did say this meal plan. Really, my food was a big one for me. For me, what really helped was to stop being a victim to the current situation. For a long time, I was letting that credit card debt control my emotions, my feelings, my life, and like take your power back. Take your power back. If it was unnecessary spending, own the mistake of the unnecessary spending. If it was out of your control, acknowledge this was out of my control. all I can do is move forward with it. Don't let it run your life anymore. Don't let it like be the thing that like is on your back weighing you down, that's like holding you back from life, you know? And find those things that make you happy in the day-to-day, like the little things, you know? If there's things you can do at home, the little routines, the making your coffee at home, playing board games at home, and cooking a home-cooked meal instead of going out. Find the little things that make you happy. Finishing up my coffee here. Definitely subscribe if you are new here. This is gonna go in my Debt Diaries playlist where I shared my debt story from the beginning, where I shared payday routines, where we really got into the nitty-gritty breakdown of it with my very poor budget, but still a budget. It still worked, got me to this point. Definitely subscribe if you're new. I'm still going to talk about personal finance stuff on my channel. I'm just going to be working towards the next goals now, and I'm really excited for it. When I find some more resources, and I don't know, TikTok creators or templates for budgeting, if I find any like that, I'll try to link them below, but I don't have any in my brain right now, so they'll probably be in future videos and description boxes once I share more of that. So I hope you all enjoyed my how I got out of debt video. Definitely comment below if you're out of debt now, what helped you. I want this to be like a whole brain dump of tips and advice and tricks for anyone who is still going through it. Share your story. What helped you? What did you do? What is your current financial situation? Are you in debt? Are you out of debt? If you're still in debt, what are you doing? Or what would you like to do to get out of it? If you're not in debt anymore, what did you do? And what tips would you give to others? Like, definitely comment them down below. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments as per usual. And with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day whenever you're watching this. And I will see you all in the next vlog. Bye!